G'day traders, welcome to wrap up of Tuesday the 17th of April. So on the daily chart here's the Tuesday, is the particular day we're talking about. So approaching today, or when we approach this particular day, the cash market did go up quite a bit, but there still was quite a decent candle from the pre-market. So as we opened up, there was certainly green candles there and evidence of buyers around. So the way I looked at this market, I really thought it was one of those 50-50 days. We keep talking about the sellers trend that we're in at the moment, and we keep failing to break any higher than this resistant level that we're keep on heading our head on. And again, we came up there and hit it last night. So until we break up through that, you can still feel quite confident with the sellers. But the fact of the matter was, there was some buyers coming into the start of this day, so you got to respect that and go, okay, well maybe sellers won't have it all that way. So definitely wanted to look at it as 50-50 scenario and let the opening of the market tell us what it wanted to do. Interesting fact about this too is we'll break it down and go through it soon, but this market basically topped out again at this resistance that I talked about before, that 1288 sort of area. So these sellers, even though I've had some buyers lately, these sellers are holding the buyers back, and at no stage are they kind of losing their fortress, so to speak. So the sellers still got a bit there, that's for sure. So let's go through this day. So in the end, the buyers did come in strong, even though we're in the sellers market. I guess the 1 minute chart here over on the right hand side shows that the opening a little bit better. We pushed up, then came straight down, and we came quite heavily down to this power point here. All the other markets sort of broke down and had a bit of a look down below their cash market lows. And from there bounced quite nice off that power point. As far as picking that power point to hold, if you had a stronger buyer's opinion, it might be one to look at, but probably not the safest of options to go for. But from there, the market well and truly headed up. My perception of these, of this market, especially early on, we had this sideways period. We pushed down, even though the other markets were looking like they wanted to have a bit of a go on the downside. There wasn't a lot of evidence there saying that they were going to break down. But as soon as they swung around back to the upside, you can see the predictive crossing up here. And just here, the Nasdaq actually was breaking really heavily to the upside. All the other markets were right up near the cash highs. They looked ready to go. And from here, at the end of this candle here, I thought it was a really high chance that we're going to see the market pushed up. And that's exactly what happened. From there, we pushed up. We had a bit of a sideways period here, which you can see on the 1 minute chart as well. And that was around that 1380. So again, that's a bit below 1380, but it's a bit of a resistance area. Then they had a second push up, and went again, and we've got one of these very extended markets that we've been seeing a fair bit of this lately. These markets seem to be going and not really giving any opportunity to get on any sort of pullbacks or retracements, depending on what side it's on. Let me just bring the 1 minute chart over with it as well. So from there, you can see the market come up here. This was actually a yellow power point up around here, where it looked like it was temporarily topping out at. We had a bit of a pullback. As far as looking at any true fades or anything that I look for on the 5 minute charts earlier on here, this stage here, it's a bit too shallow after quite a decent trend up. We're looking for a bit more of a deeper retracement, at least to one power point, preferably maybe even the second power point. But from there, the predictive swung back up again. I think this swing up of the predictive wasn't quite as predictable as this one. This one had all the other markets breaking up, the Nasdaq, and there's some evidence that buyers around. By the time it was quite extended and happening a second time, and also again we're approaching resistance levels up around 1385. None of the other markets were breaking at this stage. It was actually ES that led this break up. So when the ES leads it like that, it's very hard to get on it. When you see other markets lead, like it does down here, so for example the Nasdaq broke clearly a fair bit before the ES, it's quite easy then to go, okay, well ES is going to follow, let's get on. Whereas down here, if the ES is leading them, there's nothing to indicate that this move is coming. So didn't see this breakout coming, even though it was definitely possible. Wasn't certainly as confident as it happening here as it was down below. And that was just kind of the way of the buyers. This is the second pullback, up we go again, and you can see they're slowly losing momentum as they get higher and higher. Here we had a third one, didn't quite break as high like the first and second pullback. And here's this top out at 1388. Which is basically the last line of the sellers. Whenever I start a day, always list a few figures down, and 1388 was the last of the sellers' figures that I had written down. So I was like, okay, if we break any higher than this, it might be game over for the sellers and the buyers are going to come back. But they held, They held their fortress, like we said before, and from there they pushed down. So even though it was a buyer's day, um, don't discount the sellers and know that they're that they are holding certain levels. So when we approach Wednesday's trading, it'll be interesting to see what the pre-market does. But we could get some sellers. And then we had this little bit of a push down here to finish off the day. So we talked about this area in the trading room, how this came very late, but when we started to get a breakdown here, we're looking to break down a bit earlier, then form a shoulder, then get on the downside. So if there's evidence that the seller's coming, again, it's got to be led by the other markets, and then we're prepared to take some sort of sell because the market's very extended at this stage, and you're expecting sellers to come. But in saying that, don't ever just assume that sellers are going to come in. As you can see here, they didn't really ever come in right until that last, I guess, after 4 o'clock, that last 10-15 minutes. Just because the market's extended, I have seen it before, and this is a bit of an example where the buyers just dominate the whole day, and it's not a given that there's going to be a sell-off and buyers taking their profit or anything like that. You can see this is it here. So I had a bit of a push down through this power point. In the end, we faded through that purple fairly well, but I wouldn't just assume every time this is going to work. What I'd rather see is the market break down, see the other markets break support, then form a shoulder, then go again. Then you're confirmation. That's a lot safer way to approach any sort of sell-off, as opposed to just trying to take it here and I guess riding a luck. So just a note to be careful in those sort of areas. Anyway, that's a wrap up for Tuesday, and we'll speak to you guys on Wednesday.